Likido martial art. Closing. Duration, 1 day. In this final day of our 30 days conditioning, we will do a closing already, where we will do a quick summary of what we had done for almost these past 30 days, and give a final task for you to do so, that even if you don't continue learning more on the next coming parts of this Likido martial art like the sports, philosophy, fitness, etc. of this martial art, then at least you can maintain what you've learned and the conditioning that you get from this entire 30 days of conditioning, so that when the time comes for you to defend yourself from someone, then you can do it. Within this final day, I will give you all the necessary tasks that you'll need to keep doing, so that even after you finish this conditioning and decided not to continue on this Likido martial art already, then at least you can still maintain your condition and ability that you get from here, so that when the day comes that you'll need to defend yourself, you can do it. If as to a car, the physical conditioning acts like the reading of the car itself, while the mental conditioning is the reading of the journey and setting off of the destination, and the emotional conditioning is the ability to maneuver the car to safety. Once it is faced into a road intense situation that could lead to an accident, then this final closing day is like the license that you'll get from being able to fully finish the entire lesson, or at least basic lesson, so that you can still continuously drive a car with effectivity and recognition right fighting condition. So before we move to the task that I will give you for long-term maintenance of your overall conditioning, so that when the time comes for you to defend yourself, you can do it, we will do a quick recap for now of everything that we have done on this entire 30 days conditioning since we began, to get a quick refresh. First, we begin with an introduction to this Likido martial art, which is followed by an introduction to the actual conditioning that we're going to do, and that on the first day, we already started the first day of the 2 days general conditioning that aims for whole body awakening and warming up to avoid potential physical injuries and sprain from the actual conditioning, aka the conditioning before the actual conditioning. Second, we started the physical conditioning part introduction, which is the actual physical conditioning, where then we began the 15 days of physical conditioning exercises aimed with each of the 5 physical aspects, which are the speed, reflex, flexibility, strength, and endurance, which is allocated with 3 days each that aims for overall physical bodily conditioning. Third, then we did the 9 days mental conditioning after its introduction that acts as the knowledge gaining part of this martial art, aka the educating part, where we learn the most vital pieces of knowledge of Likido martial art that one can use on an actual kill or be killed situation. Fourth, then we started the emotional conditioning introduction, which is followed immediately by the implementation of its 3 days training with different daily exercises that focuses on us having more control and autonomy over our emotions on an actual kill or be killed situation. Fifth, which is at last this closing day, where we wrap up everything out of this 30 days conditioning and will give the maintenance task so that one can maintain their overall condition even after this 30 days period of conditioning, even if they don't continue much further and deeper on this Likido martial art after this conditioning part. Simpler representation: introduction knowledge plus physical condition plus mental condition plus emotional condition plus maintenance knowledge equals the ability to defend oneself anytime and anywhere in times of danger. Maintenance task. So now we are going to be ending this 30 days conditioning by giving you a maintenance task, something that you will keep in practice consistently in your given time period so that you can maintain your overall conditioning, physical, mental, and emotional, so that when the day comes that you need to defend yourself, then you can do it. First, physical condition. You must do daily, still the 4 minutes each for 5 physical aspects exercise, training in total of 20 minutes for all the 5, which is just the same as what we did daily since the day 1 of the mental conditioning when it begins. This is to help maintain your physical condition. So every day before you go to sleep and your day ends, you must check on this if you achieved a 4 minutes each period of exercise, training for each of the 5 physical aspects for that given day, and if not, then you must do it. The goal of this is to keep us physically active and conditioned to, which is very important when we will need to defend ourselves already. Second, mental conditioning. In the maintenance for the mental conditioning, you'll use the 4 weeks period timeline each month, where you'll select a day, be it like Monday or Sunday, whatever will be the most memorable for you. But basically this day that you will select is the day you will read Review and simulate 2 mental conditioning lessons for the first 3 weeks of a month, and on the final week, which is the 4th week, will be the final 3 mental conditioning lessons, completing the 9 lessons that signifies the 9 days period of this mental conditioning, which should be in order. This is to keep your knowledge of Likido martial art fundamentals refreshed so that when the time of survival comes you still know these things and can still use them. Monthly sched for mental conditioning review. First week equals to lessons. Second week equals to lessons. Third week equals to lessons. Fourth week equals 3 lessons, completing all the 9 lessons. Third, emotional conditioning. And the final one, the emotional conditioning that without the physical and mental conditioning might bear no effectiveness if one can't regulate oneself's emotions in times of danger. On this one we have 3 days lesson, so we gotta do this in 3 days sched. 1 day each week, like on the same day of the first 3 weeks of the month after you did read and review the 2 lessons of mental conditioning. Each week you can immediately follow one of this emotional conditioning lesson exercise so not to forget, which must be in order too. The aim of this is so that you maintain your own emotional control and stability when faced with a fight or flight primal mode situation, like when fighting for life situation. What it actually looks like. You, after finishing this 30 days conditioning part of this Likido martial art, you'll be doing daily the 4 minutes minimum each for 5 physical aspects exercises for a total of 20 minutes overall, while also reading, understanding and simulating once a week the 2 mental conditioning lessons, in order with the 4th week of the month having 3 lessons on that day, to achieve the 9 days lesson in total of the mental conditioning review. Then you'll do the 3 days conditioning exercises of emotional conditioning for 1 day each on each week of the first 3 weeks of every month, which is much better done after you just finished the mental conditioning to lessons review on the same day, so that to avoid forgetting, or at least lessen the possibility of, much better to do them the 2 lessons mental conditioning and 1 emotional conditioning exercise on the same day each of the first 3 weeks of every month. Physical conditioning equals daily 20 minutes for all 5 physical aspects for minutes each. Mental conditioning equals to lessons once a week and final week of month 3 lessons. Emotional conditioning equals once a week on the first 3 weeks of the month, ideally just after the mental conditioning lessons review. No, don't just rely on this minimum. Use all your opportunity, like on the physical conditioning, to hone all your 5 physical aspects, even if you're done already achieving for minutes each for the 5 physical aspect conditioning exercise or movement that day, you can still keep on. There's no limit to it, just minimum. It also applies to the mental and emotional conditioning. Take all your opportunities to practice and use them anywhere and anytime. For again, Likido martial art is all about being able to adapt to any situation or place, this to increase one's versatility and flexibility. Then one must practice it on different places and situations, no matter what one feels. For martial art, learn it for self-defense is not something you will just learn and practice once and you'll have it forever already, but rather something you will practice every now and then to maintain your condition to actually perform and do it in times of danger, just like those bodybuilders who shows up to gym every day just to keep their form. As the saying goes, you either use it or lose it. So if you really want your effort of finishing this 30 days conditioning of this Likido martial art to pay off, then you must follow this maintenance task and strictly abide to it no matter what. If you got late, catch up. Again, you can decide to either learn deeper on this martial art, like the next coming parts and segments of it, like the philosophy, sports, fitness, etc. sides of it, but all of those are more of secondary already, since this conditioning part, especially if the maintenance task is followed properly and strictly, would enable one to defend himself already in times of danger. A message from the Creator. If you reached this far and did your best on this 30 days conditioning part of this martial art, I just wanted to say congrats to you. Now all you need to do is decide whether if you will stop here already and just continue with the maintenance task to keep your condition and be ready for possible 1-day survival encounter, or study deeper on this Likido martial art with the next coming parts, segments. But still, you must remember that even if you decide to study deeper on this martial art, you still need to do the maintenance task starting today and follow strictly to it. Important notice: don't forget your minimum 20 minutes of physical movements today that focuses on the 5 physical aspects, which is speed, reflex, flexibility, strength and endurance with 4 minutes each minimum for each physical aspects. You'll do this daily every day, checking this every night once your day ends if you have done 4 minutes each for all the 5 physical aspects of movements today. If not, then you must do it before you sleep. Written by Earth Robert. This video is made possible by the sponsor below, Quincy Wilson.